Okay, no intro, no plugin stuff, just streamlined almost straight to it. So this one was sent to me on Discord. Link in the description box down below. That's it. Um, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm a little excited about it because I absolutely love. I love Halo. I absolutely, it's so great. It really is. It really is. All right. It was one of the When I was much younger, it was one of those types of fictional universes that truly made me seriously and honestly think about, you know, more concepts beyond just run, gun, shoot, and, do grunt thingy. You know what I'm saying? Because it implemented so many things from so many different great genres, especially the original books. The newest books, bunch of woke garbage slop. That being said, the original Halo stuff, all of it, freaking amazing. But yeah, so I look forward to this, and I like Sodas, right? Because Sodas is amazing. Here's his channel. He stood on principle, right? He told GW, a woke company, to go f itself, and he did his own thing. And so you know what? I've been hooked ever since. That being said, from Sodas, Halo fan animation. Remember, no pun intended. I didn't mean to double do that. This is one guy, just one dude. I mean, I can fight maybe parts of a battle by myself, as a retired combat veteran, but I'm trying to get into tech, and my God, the stuff this guy is doing is amazing magic to me. So make sure you give him some love. All right. I think I'm ready. I'm probably not, but I think I am. Let's jump in. Wait, are those banshees and seraphs? Oh! Is this a Battle of Reach? I'm not sure where this is going to be. But this seems like it would be part of the Battle of Reach for sure. Because, unfortunately, humanity throughout the Human Covenant War was losing. We won some isolated engagements, some things here and there, some ground combat things, but at the end of the day, all we were doing was, in this universe, of course, this isn't reality, I know, but all we were doing was a holding action, delaying action, falling back, retreating, being defeated, falling back, retreating, being defeated, falling back, falling back. We'd have like a cluster of victories and then defeat, retreat, fall back, defeat, retreat, fall back, holding action, Pyrrhic victories everywhere. Bub. People think it's great to be a human in the Halo universe. No! Yeah, let's go, troopers! Got my ODSTs coming in. Let's go. As someone who. Oh, shoot, I just realized my head is floating above the foot. This is so annoying. God damn you. OBS, fix yourself. There we go. No, there's still a freaking light. God, that drives me up the goddamn wall. Stop doing that. No, there's one right there. Do y'all see what's happening with my windows? Ridiculous. Anyway, Back to finish what I was saying before I almost had an insane aneurystic crash out over frickin' technology not doing what it's supposed to do. Um, as someone who has leapt out of big giant tubes in the sky himself, because I didn't like being inside the tube in the sky, because if the tube in the sky fell down and reached terminal V, there's nothing that could be done to save you or me. Right? But I love jumping out of them, because then I felt, someone told me this, and you know what? It makes sense. The reason why I'm terrified of being in a plane or static heights is, potentially is, the fact that you have like no control there. None. Whereas if I jump out and I've got my chute, right? I have some measure of control over what's going to happen. So, you know what? That makes sense to me. I never thought of it that way. But as someone who has jumped out of, flying tubes, metal tubes in the sky that can fall apart at any second, all right, I really do appreciate the ODSTs. I really love them. Just for the fact that I can imagine doing this, because I've done something similar. That's another reason why I love them so much. Anyway, let's continue. Yep. Reality is, that's how it would go down. Damn, he's nailing it here, right? People look in the games and they're like thinking, oh, well, that's how it would actually go down. In real life and in the books, because in the books they do a lot of this too, they keep it very grounded. Okay? I mean, you're talking about the contrast between the games and the actual universe lore. It's pretty sharp. Especially, going back to what I was saying earlier. Because in reality, if someone did get hit with a weapon like this, and we do have weapons that are approximations of this, right? That's exactly what would happen. That is, as someone who has contributed to his own, enormous amount compared to most, of making other creatures into a mist, or just reducing them to pieces that are hard to find and hard to collect. This is exactly pretty much how it would go down. I love the realism he put into this. Yeah, just crushing them. Right. And this comes back to what I said earlier anyway, when I prefaced this video. We won a lot of isolated engagements on the ground because of stuff like this, right? Because, well, we had to apply overwhelming force to specific spots, all right? When you take the Human Covenant War in universe, you condense and combine the timelines, all the engagements together. quite often they came down to having to apply overwhelming force, if it can be brought to bear, in order just to win that one specific select engagement. The rest of the time, it wasn't going this way. But I do love how he just kicked them all to the side and just crumpled them. I love it. That's exactly how that would go down, too. Right? I've gotten to test, the earlier versions of like powered armor and exoskeletons and stuff in between that was kind of weird. And I mean, it was impressive as something to carry more weight with and more gear. It didn't really assist us very well in combat training of any kind. If anything, it was a hindrance. But if we could get it up to this level, like Mjolnir you see being demonstrated here, my God. The only things you would really truly have to worry about would be RPGs, heavy artillery, maybe 25 caliber, maybe 50 cal if you're using like nothing but armor penetrating. But at the same time, with, okay, take it from my experience in combat. If I can move, I am going. Okay, I can't really perform that well anymore. My mile time has gone from like around 6 minutes to about 7 to 7:30 now as I've gotten much older. But anyone who's got, combat experience in furious engagements of any kind, any really close quarters tick, tick being troops in combat, they all know there's a few things you got to do: shoot, move, communicate, kill. And there's a few things you're looking for, right? Looking for the enemy, cover, and then concealment. Now, if part of you is your cover, right? Because cover is stuff that will slow down and stop, enemy fire. So you're carrying your cover, right? You don't even necessarily need to be a human tank. You just need to be able to absorb all of the small arms fire, which these suits can do. If we ever got up to that level, people would no longer wish to even try to engage us on the ground unless they're absolutely reread out their brains, right? Reread, as in they cannot understand. They're too stupid. They're too functionally, mentally incapacitated to know. All right? At that point, they're basically an animal waiting to be slaughtered. That's the truth and reality of it. But like I said, if we're able to get up to this level, well, the only way anyone would have any way to stop us from having our way with them would basically be nukes or getting the same level of advancement. I just don't see it happening with anybody else. Yeah! Plus, another thing that's cool, right, that people don't consider is that in real life, IRL, I'm not stopping out in the open with no cover or concealment, right? And taking rounds, and taking the chance of the enemy being able to send rounds my way and hit me. No, absolutely not. But I love Halo too much to rag on it too much. I love it. However, this goes back to what I said earlier. It makes sense because these guys are basically, right, miniaturized tanks. In their armor, they can absorb a huge amount of damage and punishment, and it's designed to do so, enabling them to be their own cover to a certain extent, right? So they can do stuff like this, right? Whereas in my experience, IRL, unless I have no choice, unless I absolutely have zero choice at all, there's no way in hell I'm being caught out in the open and anyone and everyone can take shots at me from anywhere and everywhere. F that. But a super soldier with, weighing about a ton in near impervious, virtually impervious armor can. God, if they came out with this stuff and they could do a lot of the stuff they say they could do in the books, like telomere therapy, making you live longer, making you functionally immortal and super strong, right? Turning you into a real Spartan. I'd tell my son, hey, Dad's going to go get a second retirement. Because I'd love to go and do this. Well, anyway, that being said, let's continue. Boom!
They're breaking! Push him back! Yeah. You right? Move up! Yeah! Keep up the pressure!
Let's go, boys. I freaking love the elites, I swear to God. If I could have like a spirit alien creature, it'd probably be the elites. I like my enemies on the opposite side of the humans until they need us, right? But man, just the elites are so cool. They really are. They really are. And you know what? If I had to pick anyone to be outside of humanity, it'd be an elite. It would be. But I just love that. It really, I know they're meant to be alien, right? But, you know, like, I feel that. I feel that, right? It replicates what I used to experience when we would set up the enemy and then they would come right to us, right? Or we'd go to them and they weren't expecting us there. They were expecting us quite often, yes, but not there at this point in time, right now, where they're at this point in time. Okay, they don't, nobody expects, something or anyone to drop onto your roof. Right? You always see it happening to other people. You don't expect it happening to you. But whenever we used to get a good, like, any type of interdiction, or we'd intercept an enemy force somewhere, or, we would find, fix, and then I have to be careful about what words I use, but, take out enemies. When you got to the point where you were just the overwhelming force against them, right? It feels the same. It's like, all right, let's get them. And then, the overpowering of them would ensue. The over application of force, as those who are weaker like to say. But there's no such thing as over application of force in war. In combat, if you've been in a fight, anything, no such thing as over application of force. There's only two things that matter: winning or losing. Nothing else is relevant. But yeah! How did I know that was going to... Right? Because I'm torn right now. It's like, oh no, my grunts. I love my grunts, by the way. I don't care where they are and who they are. I love my grunts. I love my ground level guys. Maybe it's because, my whole career I was a ground level guy. But I love my ground level guys, right? I like my operators, like my, standard infantry dudes, even my, random militias that have actually put some time, attention, energy, and resources into themselves, right? Which is unfortunately few and far in between. I love my grunts, but I'm conflicted here because it's so cool that the elite just came up and was like, let's go, right? Just coming straight in. He probably ran the whole way too. Just if there was drone footage of the battle, you just see the elite just beating feet to get these guys. I love it. I love it. That being said, though, I'm like, no, my poor grunts. Damn.
Stretch him out. Going in.
They've got backup.
Oh, yeah. Did you know that the UNSC uses 7.62 and not 5.56? Did you know that the UNSC uses 7.62 and not 5.56? If you know, you know. That's right. Keep charging. Charge, 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 charge. I gotta hand it to him, though. Sodas makes this look absolutely just stunning. All right. If I ever get like a gaming company of my own, I'm still trying. It's just, it's no longer a priority because I don't have hundreds of thousands to start things off, and progress on the game I'm building is real slow because it's just me and anyone else I've tried to bring aboard. Let's just say my faith in humanity has yet to be restored. He makes this look so amazing. I tried to do animation and stuff like this. My God. Just to get a lower level quality of animation is a momentous effort. Sure, it's a soft job. It's soft skills. Sure, it's tech and programming. I've done stuff that the vast majority of people could never do in their entire lives, even if they tried. Still doesn't take away from the momentous effort it takes to do this. Sure, it's not physically difficult, but it's a level of difficulty on its own. And my God, Sodas does a good freaking job of this. I love this. He's great. If he makes more movies, I will watch them. Absolutely so.
In position. Right behind you. Let's go.
I love that so much. I love that so much. That's what unlimited budget looks like. That's what unlimited budget looks like right there. All right, he straight up dropped the mag, just stuffed in another one, because he knows he's just gonna get another one. You know, for huge amounts of my military career, we weren't allowed to drop mags unless you could stuff them or had a bag for them or something. Because even though everything else had an unlimited budget, uh, the ground guys didn't. They basically had to fight for everything they were getting already. So yeah, I love it so much though, because the thing is that it's so much faster to just drop the mag. It really is. That's why a lot of us, got freaking mag pouches or mag bags, right? Or drop pouches, whatever they're called nowadays, because it's easier to just drop the mag in that thing and pull up another one than it is to try to slot another one in after you just pulled out the empty mag. Right? Now, yeah, you can grab it afterwards, whatever, but still, it's like shit, dude. But I love this so much because this is the true indicator of an unlimited budget. All right, that's my 5 cents there. Well, okay, probably 50, but anyway.
Spread out. All right, here you go.
I do love how he does have combined ops going on between ODSTs and Spartans, but also he's allowing the ODSTs to perform on their own in this same, uh, well, kind of like this little episode he's made, right? Because the ODSTs were only a step below the Spartans. Before everything else, the ODSTs were the pinnacle. And then Spartans came to be, and then they were pushed down to second. That does not detract from the fact that they're still incredible, right? It's kind of like the difference between like the modern day ubiquitousness of special operations troops, right? Especially ground level guys, tactical dudes, the tacticals, as you call them, or operators, whatever it is you throw their way. Contractors as well. There's a lot of very well trained contractors. Um, you know, it's kind of like that and your standard, infantry. Because, for me, I've experienced all those worlds. So the thing is that your regular infantry guy is still capable of something like this, right? In the equivalent of the real world, minus the specialized training. That's why the troops that are considered above them, right, a different tier, quite usually are called some kind of specialty, right? Special forces. Every soldier in special forces has their own type of specialty. They're a specialist of some kind, but they all have the same combat capacities. Now, well, of course, there's different tiers of like different teams and different units and different whatever. We're just talking in general terms here. Let's not get semantic and re over it. But compared to your regular infantry guy, in between like Rangers, regular infantry, airborne, air assault, whatever, special troops divisions, contractors, special operations of any kind. Only difference is, right, is their budget and what they're doing at that point in time. That's it. From my experience, you could take any, infantry guy and slot him into, with appropriate training, anything else. Because the basic absolute foundation and framework for everything else is your frontline standard combat grunt. Period. That being said, I love my grunts. And I love how the ODSTs are standing tall in this one too.
I'm moving.
Yeah, let's go, boys. Get him. There we go. Just like in the games. Just like in the game. You got to get to that weak spot. Or just hit him with a rocket or infinite grenades. That works too. But quite usually me, I'd like to just, either melee with the first game. Because you can still get behind the Covenant Hunters in the first game. And then you can melee them to death. You just go in circles because it's hard for them to follow you unless you're like directly like right there. And you act... Well, anyway... Or in the second game, where if you stuck like plasma, like in their core midsection area, or a sniper rifle, center mass essentially, in their exposed parts, or the face, right? Sniper rifle face, But yeah, freaking just like in the games, just like in the games. I love it. God, he's done such a good job on this. Damn Skippy, son. Yeah, let's go. Reinforcements, boys. Now the real party's arrived. I love it. I love it. Someday if I do, like, let's say my game thing takes off in any way, shape, or form, I want to make, a Halo game, but like Battlefield or Battlefront, kind of similar to that, right? Where it's like, where it's like you can select characters, but there's only so many you can be, right? There's only so many specialties. Only so many people can be Spartans, realistically. And then only so many people can be ODSTs. And then only so many people can be like the regular army and, Marine grunts, right? Plus their support, plus Pelican pilots, plus all of this, right? I would love to make a game where it was just massive. You're talking like at least 100 players on each team. And then there's like objectives and stuff like in Battlefield. Wouldn't that be cool? Plus all the stuff from Halo, the technology and everything from both sides. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be neat. I'd love that. Anyway, let's continue. But yeah, I want something like that where it's like, you're on a different team on the same side, and then you're the reinforcements. Your strike team has met their objective. Now they need the rest of y'all to come in, or they've done the shaping operation, and now time for the main advance. Something like that, right? I'd love that.
Charlie, fall on the position and continue on your mission. Tactics out.
Affirmative.
Scrub the area. Taking one.
You think I'm not thinking? Yeah. Where's hell? There was so many.
Over here, Spartan. You okay?
The thing making Spartans seem less human, it never really, like, they took a strange direction after the original trilogy. You know what I mean? Because in the books, right, in the original lore, original canon and all that, before the takeover of the stupids, yeah, Spartans had a level of separation from humanity. However, they still had expression. Some of them still retained almost directly how they were as children. Just shaped, molded, and refined to a better version, right? But they still retained a humanity that kept them, connected and reminded of what it is they were fighting for. Right? Whereas in the newer stuff, they're either overly emotional idiots, right? Or they're basically just machines that are biological, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like to me. Especially with the chief, right? They seem to turn the chief from what you would expect from a professional soldier who's of the top tier elite. Yeah, they were an indoctrinated child, but even more so, that would be the expectation of him. To, him having all these extra things that never used to be part of the chief's character. He had humanity. That's beyond dispute. But it was very, very well regulated, as much as it could be. He had moments like when he first encountered the flood and he'd been fighting forever, and then the flood almost got the drop on him. In fact, they did, and it was only Cortana that kept him from being turned into a flood combat form. He had to take a break for like 15 minutes straight or something like that. I mean, after all that, right? Because, Cortana read that his vitals and everything, even for a Spartan, were absolutely just through the freaking. They were out of the roof. They were through the roof and out of the atmosphere. That's how bad things were. Even he was forced to take a 15-minute break, demonstrating that even though he's got all of this, he is all of this, he's still human. He's still a living, breathing, thinking being. So yeah, it's good to see that implemented. It really is, because he wasn't the exception. He was actually closer to the rule, because all the Spartans had their own unique individuality, despite them all being a family of a whole, right? Which was the premier elite special operations of the whole entire of humanity. Anyway, sorry, too much of a tirade. You let me know. Me, I love Halo. What can I say?
Unknown station, this is Gamma 1 Actual. Do you read? Over.
Gamma 1 Actual, this is Iron Fist. We read you. What is the current state of facility Alpha 331?
Facility Alpha 331 is overrun and offline. Defense grid and sub-uniform Delta is running at starvation levels. If you're taking survivors, we've got a few.
Negative, Gamma. We are en route to support Beta Red. Any word on their status?
None. Over.
Acknowledged. There's a temp evac station west along your current vector at uniform Delta 0089 6 to 89 87. I'll let them know you're coming.
Good to see you, sirs. Never thought I'd see this many Spartans.
Let's get this thing moving, huh?
Oh boy. In the books, right, the even the regular troopers had access to like thermals and night vision and stuff, because it was basically ubiquitous gear. So it put like your average troops on, even mostly even ground with like the elites when it came to like their active camo and stuff, right? So it's always confused me a bit as to why it's not used more. But I mean, that's just me, right? That's just me. But if they had guys who at least had some thermals, right? Because the elites combat their combat harness, their type of armor, when using active camo or anything else, gives off heat. Did you know that? So having thermal optics, or at least having thermal nods, would put you guys on even footing with them. But I understand why it's not included that much, because then it would make it a much more even fight. I'm guessing it's a plot device. I don't know. Not really sure. I never really got too much in depth with that, but it's interesting. I don't see it, right? Because I would think if I had, people manning towers, I'd have one with, regular nods, one with thermal at least, right? But in real life, everybody would have thermal and nod. So, I mean, I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that. But me, it's like, I read in one of the original canon books that they were using thermals, to be able to see the elites and to fight them off. So, y'all let me know what you think about that. Me, I think it would be neat to include it because it does line up with a, very advanced humanity in the future having ubiquitous access to this type of technology.
Hell.
What? Oh, hell no! Incoming! We got company! Fall back!
Uh-oh. Some real bad mofos have just shown up. He's just basically almost no scoping, guys. He's a bink. Oh, Jesus. Also, yes, it is faster to pull your sidearm than to reload. They got him. Oh man, there's only two ways to take that, I think. If you're this guy, you're either demoralized to all hell or prejudicially motivated. It's one of the two. I don't think it would be in between. Another MIA for the roster because Spartans never die.
It's in. All right. Just hang to base.
He included the mobile bases in this from like what was it? What was it? Halo Wars? I think it was Halo Wars. I'm pretty sure it's Halo Wars. It was basically like an RTS game essentially. I didn't play it much because I'm not good at RTSs. I'm not. Even though I love StarCraft, right? It's pretty fun to play casually. I could never be competitive because I just can't be. I'm not that good. Those who would say to me, "Get good, scrub," I'd be like, "I tried and failed." And that's it. All right. Anyway, let's continue. But yeah. Man, I remember reading this scene in the books originally. Uh, where they had just fought so hard for this colony. They had wiped out an army of grunts that was like, tens of thousands deep. They wiped out a Covenant base, took out enemy assets and everything. Like the Spartans did an amazing job on this one planet. I think its name was Jericho. It was either Jericho or something else. I'm trying to remember the books from when I read them. But, there's a scene that reminds me of this where the chief reports to the deck of the CNC, right? Command and control of a ship that's the flagship. Letting their commander know, hey, job's done. Only to get there and witness that everybody had prepared for a slip space jump to get out of the system. Because since the Covenant lost all their ground forces, they just glassed the place. All that effort, all that time, attention, energy, and resources, all the sacrifice, the lives lost, everything expended. Only to lose anyway. And I've come across stuff like this in real life. Especially being in places where people don't know he went. Trying to do, or at least what at the time we think was the right and good thing. I'll never say that ending bad people is not a good thing. I'll never say that. Ending bad people is always a good thing. Period. I'll never regret that. But actually, I don't even have to use like other examples. Afghanistan. It felt like absolute dog doo-doo. All right? It felt like absolute crap. When we were forced to leave and forced to do it in the most disgraceful and shameful, just slap in the face to everybody who fought and died for this way. We didn't lose. All right, everybody absolutely fails on that one. We didn't lose. We were forced. We were told to leave. All right. Whether it's a good or bad thing, that's irrelevant at this point in time. I'm just talking about the act itself. I spent, so much time over there. I helped protect schools. In other ways, helped to, plan, improve, or build them. I helped to fight off the bad dudes that wanted to keep everybody in the Stone Age under a oppressive religious regime. God almighty, man. We lost brothers and sisters. Only for, in the end, none of it to goddamn matter. Because someone just decided they wanted to win political points for their evil agenda. No one will ever convince me that the stuff we did there was not good. And people will point to casualties of war. Nobody's the exception to that. Period. So shut up about it. You weren't there. Nothing you say can matter to me. But to go through all of that, right? And even if the original, objective of it all was good or bad, our objectives, helping these people, getting rid of the bad guys, right? Providing a better future for these people. I'll never regret trying to do that. But to have it all thrown away so casually, just to win some goddamn political points. Being forced to lose after having done all of this, all this effort, sacrificed so much. And you're forcing me to lose? So yeah, with scenes like this one, I feel it.
Overlord, this is Eagle 1. We're returning to the Pillar of Honor.
Solid copy, Eagle 1.
Goliath, this is Hunter 5-1. Reinforcements have arrived at Charlie Alpha 4-3. I repeat, the Spartan team has arrived.
More of them! Eat it!
Gotta love the Covenant's fanatical tactics here. I think one of the things that they used to kind of keep humanity in the fight longer was the Covenant's zealotry, especially when it came to their military tactics. Right? The competent ones were the elites. They were the competent guys. Thus, they were in charge for so long. Just charging in against gun barrels and everything, it's a wonderful way to ensure that you give your enemy some parity when it comes to force of arms, even if you have the numbers. You know, in canon, in one of the books, I believe it's Halo the Flood. I'm pretty sure it is. You know, when going up against the Covenant Wraiths, the Scorpions would stomp. They had superior range, superior firepower, right? And they were just murking the Covenant. Even though they were outnumbered, even though they were, you know, their force of arms was limited, when the Marines landed on Halo, they were giving the Covenant the business, especially the ODSTs. You know, despite everything else, they were doing amazingly well. Like I said, I love my grunts. Tanks are cool too. Tanks are cool too. But yeah, reading one scene from the books, you know, they were getting shot at because they had to retrieve a bunch of stuff from the Autumn on the Halo ring. And, you know, like armor, supplies, equipment, all of that. And in the convoy back, they were ambushed by the Covenant. And those 120 millimeter cannons on Scorpions had such range and accuracy. They were hitting Covenant Wraiths behind a freaking hill, right? Someone was calling for fire for them. And just spanking them hard, right? But anyway, yeah, freaking... The Scorpion's really cool. I love the Scorpion. However, it is pretty bad in the multiplayer matches. I'm not gonna lie. All you gotta do is get hit with a rocket twice and it's done. So it's like... But hey, it's cool here, isn't it? Speaking of which, this was something I was gonna mention next, is that personally, right, if I were in charge of the defense here, I would want to own the high ground around it. So I would set up like hides, OPs, and probably fire team. No, more like squad sized. Yeah, just about squad sized OPs and stuff all over these mountains. Why? Because I don't want the enemy to have the high ground, or if they try to gain the high ground, it gives me the freedom of maneuver to try and get around them, right? Or to try and effect maneuver against them if they end up actually trying to probe or commit towards my defense, right? So yeah, at least some kind of overwatch or something. You can't let the enemy ever take the high ground. Why? Well, because we all know how it went down between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, right? He had the high ground, he won. Simple as. If you know, you know. Damn, he got caught by surprise. Well, he's lucky he's a Spartan. Everybody else would be dead. I'm guessing this is a last stand kind of thing going on. Otherwise, I wouldn't be, even the Spartans wouldn't be leaving their cover like this. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure. But it seems like that kind of thing that would happen, right? It's like, well, this is it, boys, let's go. Still, though, I wonder. I haven't seen this before, so I could be wrong. But I wonder, is this a last stand? Oh no. Damn. Okay, so maybe this was supposed to be Reach in some capacity. Okay. Although, technically, Reach is not even canon. That's the thing, right? Reach is more of like a fan project in itself. Because there's already original established lore that declares exactly how everything happened already. So there's no need to change it in the game. But anyway, I mean, still a cool game. Just the story's all messed up. But that being said, rest in peace, alternate timeline, Spartan team. I freaking love this music, dude. Dude! This is so good. This is a freaking movie, I swear to God. I swear to God, it's a good movie. Even though it's from Halo Reach, so it's not canon. Technically. Alright. Still a cool story. Still amazingly awesome. Still incredible work by Sodas. Bub. Sodas, love your work, man. I'll stick by you till the end. And my son loves your stuff too. And my son plays Halo. Right? So, and he knows all the lore, he understands the things and all that. So the next generation is here. But amazing. You know it's good, right? When you can watch something that's not real and you can feel stuff from it. That's what I get here. I love this stuff. That being said, you let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. So from Sodas, Halo, fan animation, remember. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Okay, you know what time it is. Be good. Be safe. Make good life for yourselves. Don't compromise safety and security for nobody and nothing. Death and disaster is only a second away. Excuse me. Do what you can today. And I'll see y'all in the next one. I am Badger7 Actual, the formerly homeless veteran, Blast Cat Badger, out.